What if I told you that history has a hidden pattern? One that repeats itself again and again, a divine pattern. For decades, some countries have stood firmly beside Israel through conflict, through peace, through everything in between. And what happened? After, miracles, growth, prosperity, unexplainable favor. In this video, you'll discover 7 nations that supported Israel and were blessed beyond belief. Let's dive in. 1. The U.S. Formerly the superpower. When Israel declared its independence in Iyar, 1948, the world was watching and hesitating. But within just 11 minutes, the United States under President Harry Truman became one of the first nations to officially recognize the new Jewish state. It was a bold and controversial decision at that time. Truman went against the advice of many in his administration, choosing instead to stand with Israel on a moral and spiritual foundation. What followed in the decades ahead was nothing short of extraordinary. In the 1950s and 60s, the United States entered a golden era that it became a world leader in innovation, industry, and influence. The economy exploded. The military became the strongest on earth. American culture through music, movies, and technology hyped the world. And through it all, the bond between America and Israel grew deeper. When Israel faced attacks during the 1976-day war and the 1973 Yom Kippur War, America didn't turn away. It provided weapons, support, and political cover. And time and again, America prospered. Was it smart foreign policy? Sure, but was it something more? Many believe Genesis 12:3 holds the answer. I will bless those who bless you and curseth those who curse you. The United States blessed Israel and blessings followed. From superpower status to divine favor, the connection is hard to ignore. America didn't just rise by chance, it trust with Israel. And in doing so, it may have unlocked a level of blessing the world had never seen before. 2. Germany. From guilt to global giant. In the aftermath of World War II, Germany was a broken nation. Its cities were in rubble. Its economy collapsed. And, most devastating of all, its moral reputation was destroyed by the horrors of the Holocaust. A systematic attempt to wipe out the Jewish people. Germany didn't just suffer physical defeat. It carried a heavy weight of guilt. The world watched closely to see how this nation would respond. And remarkably, Germany took a different path than many expected. Instead of ignoring its past, Germany confronted it hidden. It extended reparations to the Jewish people and to the new State of Israel. Billions of dollars were paid not just as compensation, but as a gesture of repentance and responsibility. German leaders made public acknowledgments of guilt and sought to build bridges instead of walls. In the 1950s and 60s, Germany formed a strong diplomatic and economic relationship with Israel. Israeli and German officials exchanged visits, cooperated in trade, and built trust that was once unimaginable. The result, today, Germany stands as one of the most powerful economies in the world. It leads the European Union. It's respected globally for its innovation, manufacturing, and diplomacy. From a war-torn nation stained by genocide, Germany became a global giant morally and economically. And at the heart of this transformation, a restored relationship with Israel. The blessing didn't erase the past, but it shaped the future. When Germany chose honor over hatred, it was lifted not just by history, but by something higher. 3. Canada. Quiet support, surprising success. Canada is often seen as a nation of politeness, peace, and diplomacy. It rarely makes loud moves on the world stage, but behind that quiet exterior lies a firm and principled stand, especially when it comes to Israel. Since the early days of Israel's founding, Canada has maintained a consistent and respectful relationship with the Jewish state. Canadian leaders, from prime ministers to members of parliament, have openly affirmed Israel's right to exist, to defend itself, and to thrive in peace. This support didn't always come without cost. At times, Canada's pro-Israel stance drew criticism from other nations and international bodies. But Canada didn't back down. Even when many countries turned their backs on Israel at the United Nations or during times of conflict, Canada stood firm, voting in favor of Israel, offering aid, and standing for truth. And while Canada didn't always make headlines for it, something else quietly happened over the years. Canada began to flourish. Its cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal consistently ranked among the most livable in the world. Its economy remained strong and stable. It became known as a haven of freedom, human rights, and prosperity. Immigration flourished. Technology and education advanced. Quality of life rose. Some credit its rich natural resources or stable politics. But others, especially those who believe in biblical patterns, see a deeper connection. Canada's quiet but firm support of Israel may have unlocked quiet but undeniable blessings. In a world filled with noise, Canada's obedience may have echoed loudest in heaven. 4. India's strategic partner. Economic growth. For decades after gaining independence, India kept a cautious distance from Israel. It was a time of Cold War politics, non-alignment alliances, and pressure from other countries in the Middle East. Support in Israel openly was seen as risky. But everything changed in the early 1990s. In 1992, India officially established full diplomatic relations with Israel. It was a quiet decision, but it changed the future of both nations. What began as a cautious handshake quickly turned into one of the most strategic and fruitful partnerships in Asia. Israel brought cutting-edge innovation to the table. India welcomed it with open arms. Together, they launched initiatives in agriculture, defense, space, cybersecurity, and especially water conservation. An urgent need for both nations. Israeli drip irrigation systems transformed dry Indian fields into productive farms. Defense cooperation grew stronger with India, becoming one of Israel's biggest military technology buyers. And then blessings followed. India began to rise as a global economic force. Its cities became tech hubs. Startups flourished, satellites were launched, the middle class expanded. Poverty began to decline. The global community took notice. India wasn't just growing, it was accelerating. While many factors played a role, one key thread stands out: the strengthening of ties with Israel. Two ancient civilizations, distant, now walk side by side in mutual respect and partnership. And as India embraced innovation, security, and friendship with Israel, it unlocked new levels of growth and global favor. Coincidence or covenant, you decide, but timing speaks for itself. 5. Uganda and Kenya, African blessings unfold. In the heart of East Africa, two nations, Uganda and Kenya, have shared a unique and early relationship with Israel. Back in the 1960s and 70s, when both countries were newly independent, Israel extended a hand of partnership. Israeli experts came to help build military strength, modernize farming, and train local leaders. The assistance wasn't just charity, it was practical and transformative. Even the political turmoil and shifting alliance caused some disruption. The connection with Israel never completely disappeared. In recent years, both Uganda and Kenya have rekindled that relationship, this time with even greater purpose. The results have been remarkable. Kenya emerged as one of East Africa's fastest-growing economies, making progress in infrastructure, innovation, and business. Israel supported Kenya in areas like irrigation, security, and health technology, helping the country improve both its economy and quality of life. Uganda, too, began to see visible progress, from better agriculture outputs to improvements in national security and trade. Israel's partnership has brought real solutions to real problems. Israel didn't come with promises. It came with tools, training, and technology. And the nations that welcomed that help began to rise. For Uganda and Kenya, standing with Israel list. Just about politics. It became a path to real lasting blessings. 6. Brazil. A shift toward blessing. For many decades, Brazil took a Muslim-neutral stance when it came to Israel. At times, it even leaned towards supporting anti-Israel positions in international forums, either to please larger global powers or to maintain peace with Arab nations. But that began to change in the 2010s. Brazil's leadership started to take a bold, new direction. The country began to express open support for Israel's right to exist, defend itself, and thrive. Leaders considered moving the Brazilian embassy to Jerusalem, a powerful symbol of recognition. Brazil also strengthened its diplomatic ties and voted more favorably toward Israel at the United Nations. And as this shift unfolded, something else began to happen. Brazil's agricultural industry boomed with Israeli farming technology, water solutions, and desert growing techniques. Brazil became one of few world's leading exporters of food. Innovation followed in energy, agri, and digital industries. Foreign investment increased. Brazil's international standing began to recover after years of economic and political struggles. To the world, it may look like good policy or market timing, but to those who believe the Bible, it looks like something deeper. I will bless those who bless you. Brazil turned toward Israel with respect and blessings, both seen and unseen. Followed. 7. Philippines. A historic friendship among all the nations that stood with Israel. The story of the Philippines is especially touching. In 1939, as the horrors of the Holocaust began to unfold and Jews desperately searched for safe refuge, many powerful nations closed their borders. But the Philippines under President Emmanuel Lazon made a different choice. With compassion and courage, Quezon offered visas to over 200 Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution. This act of mercy not only saved lives but built a bond of friendship between the Filipino and Jewish people that still exists today. But the story doesn't end there. In 1947, when the United Nations held the historic vote to establish the modern state of Israel, the Philippines stood alone in Asia as the only nation to vote aye. It was a bold and prophetic decision. Since then, the Philippines has enjoyed a unique kind of favor. It maintains a strong alliance with the United States, receives global humanitarian support during disasters, and is known for its deep spiritual hunger and vibrant Christian faith. Some see these as political outcomes, but others see something divine. When a nation chooses mercy, when it stands with God's people from the heart, heaven takes notice. The Philippines is living proof that blessing Israel isn't just an action. It's a seed sown for generations. Nations that rejected Israel, where are they now? History shows a chilling pattern. Nations that rejected or opposed Israel often face sharp decline. Babylon, Assyria, Nazi Germany, and the Soviet Union, all powerful in their time, no longer exist. Even Britain's global empire crumbled after blocking support for Israel in 1948. These aren't just political shifts. They mirror the ancient promise of Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you. It's not superstition. It's prophecy playing out on the world stage. The evidence speaks for itself. So does God still bless nations today? The evidence is powerful. From economic growth to global influence, the nations that stood with Israel, America, Germany, Canada, India, and more experienced blessings far beyond expectation. Meanwhile, those who opposed Israel saw decline. God's promise in Genesis 12:3 still holds true. His covenant hasn't changed, and Israel remains at the center of His plan. The real question isn't whether God still blesses, but whether we will choose to align ourselves where His blessing still flows. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful faith-filled content that uncovers God's hand in.